Hey everybody, happy Monday. Hope you're all doing well. Go live on Instagram, please. Thank you. Let's see, what do we got here? Give me 1 second to get set up here. Cthulhu, welcome. Everybody else, welcome on in. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and I hope your week has been good to you so far. We're back with this thing. Still working at it. Still trying to figure out what I want to do with it entirely. But I think today we're going to work primarily on the camera system here. The goal is to have this thing be like a little unit that actually folds out and then gives like full like control on all axis. So should be a fun part of the build, I'm hoping. But it's been a minute since I opened this up, so I'm actually pretty happy with it so far. I'm just kind of like spinning around to like get a feeling of what I did already because I don't really remember. Because it's actually been a hot minute since I worked on this. So let's get at it. Is this supposed to be a VTOL? No. Technically, it's going to be kind of like the easiest way I could describe it is like if you've seen Terminator Salvation. They have those little tracking drones that have like their own little single like onboard engine. And so this will be kind of the same thing. So realism, throw it out the window with this one. Just meant to look cool. But yeah. So these will be like little jet propulsion engines that have a little bit of movement up and down and kind of like rotational stuff. So I haven't figured out if I want this to be the final design. This is just my kind of blocking. But yeah. Still trying to figure out a lot of the ins and outs of this thing. The rule of cool, got it. Yeah. I try to like ground a lot of my stuff in realism, but this one I just kind of decided not to. Just because I wanted to make something cool that didn't really make sense, but looked like it worked. So, just a fun project. I gamble on turtle races. Do you ever win? That's the most important question there. All right, so let me actually open up my PureRef because it's been a hot minute. Let's see, open recent. Manta drone. All right, so I remember I was working off of something kind of like this, but it needs to be able to fold out, so something a little bit more compact like the DJI camera, and then sleek like this thing. So got a good concept of where I'm going now. If it's realism, I'd have worries about the rotors sitting on top of the wings would cause a good amount of drag. Yeah. No, and this is meant to be like something that could like hover stationary wise, so wouldn't necessarily matter. I don't know. I haven't really thought that far into it, if we're being totally honest. I just wanted to make something that looks cool. So if I do get people who are like, oh, technically, well, yeah, technically it wouldn't work, but this is an artistic project, so not a technical one. The tank, that was more technical. Same with the ship. This one's just for fun. Because sometimes, like, I don't know, doing like heavily technical builds sometimes gets really old. And so I think it's good to like break it up sometimes. Because I am definitely one who does a lot of like heavy technical builds. But it's good to be back on a Monday because I haven't streamed on a Monday in a while. Anybody working on anything cool today? I'm going to go ahead and finish this up here. So what we're going to do, let me do this. Crank the music just a little bit so you guys can actually hear it. I'm the same way with characters in tabletop games. Yeah. Those are a cool thing. As much as like I'm still learning sculpting because I never really got to dedicate a whole lot of time to it. I always love what people do with those. Because, like, just some of the creativity with some of those, especially, like, the way they paint them, that just blows my mind. Like, the idea of, like, faking light with paint, crazy stuff. I think that stuff's super cool. What's up, Zach? Sculpting is good. Yeah, eventually I'll do sculpting here on the channel. I'm just trying to get my bearings a little bit better with ZBrush before I decide to, like, submit myself to the court of public opinion on that one. I honestly haven't worked in it in about a month or two, so it's definitely time to revisit. Okay. This will be like a little rail system that'll work on, so that'll be cool. I've been working on some cool environment stuff, making an abandoned underground laboratory for one of my uni modules. Nice, that's cool. How's that going? Like in my Sunday game, I was playing a wrestler who died. Oh, a wrestler that died suplexing the boss off the roof of a castle. Super complex, actually getting it built. Nice. Very cool. It sounds complicated to build. That is just not really good tea. Alright. Tried something new, didn't like it, it's okay. So the issue that I'm having here now is I need some support there, so we're going to just multi-cut the hell out of this. Because why not? And as always, guys, with any of my streams, if you have questions, if you have concerns, anything of the sort, please feel free to ask. Thinking... Why am I thinking that that's wrong? It is wrong. But why is it wrong? There's an extra loop there for some reason. I think it's this guy. Can this guy go? No, not necessarily. That's an important one. Alright, why? Because, like, yeah, I could just collapse that, but... I don't know. Let's see what this does. It's going to create a try, but... it might hold that a little bit better than what I've got currently. And it does for the most part. So I might work that in somehow. Oh, let's see. We hate new. Why? New's great. We love new. New everything. It's been going well so far, doing a lot of trim sheet stuff, which has definitely been testing me a lot, managing the map. Managing so many modular pieces is exhausting. I bet. I have never actually worked with trim sheets. And part of me doesn't really ever want to. Because it sounds like a nightmare. I see what I'm going to do here. Alright, we're going to cheat just a little bit here. I just don't want that long-ass triangle there. But this will kind of double support here, so... Hello, Pixel. How are you? Pixelnoid. How are you doing? Alright, cool. So, that is beautiful. But also not at the same time. The good news is that leaves that wide open and I can delete it now. So, yeah. That was the goal. Now we just have that polygon to deal with. Which, actually, when... yeah, oh, yeah. Hold on. I did redo. Where's redo? I'm tired. I'm very tired today. Alright, there we go. That's quadded now. Excuse you. Thank you. Cool. And then that one was already set up that way, so I had like an extra loop or something. It's kind of weird, but that's good. That gives me that nice supported loop that I was looking for there. This is still a little funky. I do want to just add some support there. Sharpen that up a bit. There we go. That's a lot better. What's up, Al? How you doing, man? Let's see. They're great for environments, pretty much essential when it comes to game. Yeah. They can be pretty complex. Yeah, so there was this technique that I found the other day. Actually, I remember Jared had posted about it a while ago. Not necessarily like trim sheets, but using what are called floaters. And I've never thought to use those or like experiment with those, but I kind of want to now. After seeing like how they function, because like initially I was super confused by how those functioned. And then I watched another video that kind of cleared up the rest of the confusion for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, those are a really neat tool, even for like non-game stuff. Yeah, exactly, for baking. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. I'm good. How about you? In school now, we're doing animations with N-Cloth. It's interesting, but I'm waiting for Houdini. Nice. N-Cloth is fun. It's a little janky, but it's fun. What are you guys simulating with N-Cloth? Sunil, hello. How are you? Did you have a good weekend, Owl? All right, so I need to think about how I want this to function. So I know I need to have like some sort of tray system that kind of pushes it out. So my thought is I'll have something that pushes it out and then flips it down. And then those can be the operating like lenses. So let's see how that's gonna work. This is all just, I didn't draw this stuff out. So this is just me like live conceptualizing. So you guys get to see how my brain doesn't work. All right, mesh tools, offset. Obviously, this would not function very well in real life, but it'll look neat when it's animated. So I'm thinking like this will be like a sliding mechanism. Yeah. That'll be cool. In class, we learned about the basics, but for now, my personal project, I'm trying to create an AirPods commercial. Nice. Very cool. That's awesome. How's that going for you? Good evening, Hernan. How are you? They're great. Used them a bit for some trim baking stuff and making lots of easier to create some good details without having to create geometry between them all. Yeah, see, and I could see those as being something I would use more than like, because like I don't generally do like high to low baking, but I could see myself cheating detail and doing that more so than anything. So I think those are pretty valuable. I've just never personally played with them. Okay, let's take a look at this now. So I'm thinking, take this. We're just gonna kind of round this out a little bit. Oops. Scale that down. Cool, cool. Hey, I'm just learning Maya and I'm starting to get into game props. So any tips with them? If I did game props, I'd probably have better tips, but I don't generally do them. As far as I know, it's just like keeping your poly counts low and then making sure you're supporting your shapes in whatever way you can. But yeah, I don't really do game asset stuff. Abliel has some good tutorials on that stuff. He's got some really good like game production stuff and kind of like game modeling. I don't do a lot of it because like most of the stuff I do is high poly. I'm thinking I'm gonna add like a bump here. I want to make these shapes a little bit more interesting. I think the closest thing I've done so far to low poly is probably my Spartan helmet. And like even then I still subdivided the hell out of that thing. Can you tell me how to do texturing a high poly model? So you generally don't want to be texturing your high polys. You want to be texturing a lower poly version of it so it operates better. If your computer can get away with it, then yeah, you can just import them into Substance and go for it. But you're just going to kind of cause yourself more of a headache than anything else. So my advice, especially what I did with like my tank, I made whatever I needed to be kind of subdivided, and then I pulled it into Substance Painter and worked off of it that way. But I tried to keep everything else at a low poly state just so I didn't deal with those performance issues. So with a high poly model, depending on what it is, you might want to just retopologize it and then go from there. That's probably going to be your better option, which if you guys didn't see it, I have a retopology video that just went live on YouTube today. So that's good stuff. I prefer these cinematic scenes more, but I wanted to test myself to create something more commercial after this project. And I realized that for me is better the cinematic stuff. It's somewhat, yeah, I like it more. I don't know. I like the freedom of not having a polygon budget, which I understand that's getting a little bit better now. So it's not as like prominent of an issue anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I just prefer like cinema stuff. It's more. I feel like you can do more with it. You can also get away with a lot more with it. Whereas like games, you have to be real careful about making sure everything's optimized. That's why I never went into it. Okay, so that's causing a streak because there's no support there. Add a little bit of edge support there. Okay, and then I just want to fix that because that's just not good. There we go, that's better. Alright. And then we got this issue over here, which is plainly just that problem right there. And then I think that solved it. No, it's still a little bit of a little chunky. I think though what I can do is I can just take this. I can edge slide this. See if this does what I want it to. It's better. It's definitely better. I think I'll run with that for right now. You selected. Okay. Yeah, that'll be good. Good for now. How can I texture mid poly without the bake? You can't. If you're using Substance Painter, you can't texture without a bake. You can apply base materials, but they just won't function properly. So if you're trying to like avoid a step in the process of like UVing and all that stuff, you really do need to like just do the whole process. Unless you're going to do poly paint or something like that. Like you could do poly paint in ZBrush. It's just whether or not that's actually going to carry over into other applications, you'll have problems with that. What's your opinion about the film industry right now? I saw that NPC is very near to close. I'm really hoping somebody saves NPC. I don't think people are realizing how bad of a loss that's going to be. And it's, I don't know. My opinion is it's rough right now. It's rough. There's studios going under everywhere, and like none of these studios are paid accordingly to stay open, which sucks. So it's just a race to the bottom, and until we start to realize that that's not going to work anymore, because like the artists already know that that's not going to work anymore, but the studio executives who make these big movies, they haven't realized that that's not working yet. So yeah, I don't know. It sucks. I'm hoping it gets better, but it's kind of rough right now. Mr. Blazerman, thank you for the 3 months on Twitch. I appreciate you, buddy. Crazy. Thank you so much, man. For game props, I'd recommend keeping the number of texture sets low for optimization. Don't model what you don't see. Be mindful of the details that are adding textures, whether they'll be visible to the player, and consider the distance they'll be viewed at. Modeling third-person game would need lower res and lower poly models, whereas first-person game will need higher. There you go. That's great advice. That is a problem. Okay, hold on a second. I just want that to clear that, basically. Yeah, that'll work. So then I can just take this and scale this up. Hopefully. I'm gonna need to select all of this too. Let me just clumsily do this. Why does that look like there's an N-gon there? It's because there is. What? Or not an N-gon, a non-manifold. What happened? Yep. Wait. That's weird. Okay. I guess Maya was just throwing a weird artifact? I don't know about that. I don't know. Okay. Isolate view selected. I want to have my fan on right now, but I'm 3D printing something. And it always tends to screw things up with that, so I'm trying really hard not to. But damn, it's hot right now. Okay. That should be better. Yeah, that'll be okay. That got a little janky, but I can... Ooh. You don't have an enclosure? I do, except for the top of it, because I just never bought the top of it, unfortunately. Do you think the industry is going to rise again? Also, I think Arcane was a strong boost. Arcane was. I think Arcane was... It was a good boost, but at the same time, people were using it in a negative light to say, oh my god, look how expensive this stuff is. And like, most of the complaints I saw about Arcane were, well, why does this cost so much? You know, this is such an expensive thing. It's like, dude, those were hand animated. Like, this wasn't motion capture. This wasn't, you know, anything like out of just like the easy workflows. And so the other thing with Arcane is that the entire series only cost as much as like Red 1, which was a tremendous failure at the box office. So I'm like, you can have something that succeeds really well, that is longer than Red 1 and is better quality and created by artists, and it works, and you can spend the money on it. So I think once we get out of this period of like trying to appease all the investors and like actually allowing people to create things again, we'll be okay. But until then, it's just looking kind of bleak. Does cardboard work as a sub for it? My thought process along with the clothes. So the reason why I can't, I could use cardboard. It would kind of work, I guess. The top of my printer, because I have an Ender 5S1, the top of it is where the actual like head is. So the head's not inside the enclosure, it's actually on top of the printer, so it gives it a little bit more space. So the top of it is built out of plexiglass to kind of go around everything. Honestly, it's just because I've been lazy and I haven't ordered it. It's like $60, which I probably should, just because like we get a lot of dust where I live, so probably a better idea. But yeah, I still haven't invested in it. Arcane was nearly innovative all the way through. It was done with Maya, but a lot of it was 2D, very yeah, exactly. Like, it was a very artistic process, and I think that's what's amazing about it. So people bitching that it was too expensive, like, that's what you get for hand, you know, done animation on both the 2D and 3D aspects, because they didn't motion capture that stuff. The budget of Arcane was close to Snow White. Let's see. Hold on. Arcane total budget. What was the total budget? All right, so total budget for 18 episodes was $250 million. That's pretty damn good for 2 seasons. So Snow White. Right. Total budget. Total budget. Budget. Come on. My brain won't type. It was $40 million more expensive than Snow White, and exponentially more successful. So that says something. Yeah, 250 million. That's really good. I mean, that's honestly good. Granted, it was a French company, which I don't know what the wages in France are like, but taking that into consideration, I'm sure it probably would cost kind of sort of the equivalent here. I don't really know. We already underpay artists, so like I'd be curious to know. That says a lot. I say they'd have to be good wages. Yeah, no, I mean they know how to revolt. They absolutely do. Yeah, they would probably have to be good wages just because of like it's such a skill set there. And there's so few of them. Like, there's so few studios in like Europe and France. So, what's their name? It's what's the name of that studio? I always forget the name of it because it's like really weird. It's not Platique. It's what the hell was it? Arcade studio. Fortiche. Yeah, Fortiche. Fortiche. They're like one of the few. So super cool, and I love their style. Like their style for like their music videos and all the things that they've done. Really cool stuff. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to isolate this guy on all areas except for, well, no, we'll just do the top. That's fine. And then I'm going to shape the lens carriage around this. Still got to make it somewhat compact, but not super duper compact. Let's see. I want to... Oh, yeah, you can't do that in that view. That is way too large. Let's fix that. All right, cool. What are you making right now? Can you show the red? I can show the... Oh, the rest. The reference? Yeah, so that's my reference. I just drew it up on a tablet real quick. I wanted to do a manta ray inspired drone, so like the shape of a manta ray, but like a sci-fi drone. So it's my own design. Something like Fortnite. I actually did a study on their style because of that. It seems like it's the style for this time period, and I really enjoyed how the facial planes are defined. The media goes that route. Intergalactic was the first instance I saw of it, and I think after that, the Spider-Verse. Yeah, it's definitely the style of our time, which is cool. I really do worry that they'll burn out on it, or like they'll burn people out on it, because like I love it, but I just hope they don't like overdo it. And like I hope there's not too much trying to fake the style, because like if you're gonna do the style, go like do the damn style. Don't try to fake that, because I know like Substance just released an update that kind of fakes the style, and like it's all right. It's just not like it's not, you know, it's not it. I think that needs to be smaller. It's a little chunky right now. Yeah, that feels much better. Okay. I must close now. Continue the good work. Pixelnoid, have a wonderful night. Vivix, I'm working on my manta ray drone today. Fox Creative, what's up? I'm trying to improve hard surface modeling to model cool spaceships, but it's not going well. What are you getting stuck on? Perhaps I can help. I have done a spaceship or two. Really only one, but I did a tank too, so that's part of my rapport. All right, so my thought process is WD. You're gonna move right here. Should be okay. So that'll flip down. I don't know how I feel about that. I might feel better when it's like all smooth and everything. Maybe, okay. Here's, yeah. I think what I'm gonna do, give some like additional room. I need to make sure I'm not like overdoing this. No, I got plenty of room. Okay. Cool. I feel like it'll wear out near the end of the decade, to be honest, especially with the Spider-Verse coming out in 2 years. That still pisses me off to no end. Like, I totally get it. And I hope it's because they're letting their animators not, like, want to kill themselves over this project, because, like, it sounds like the second one was, like, murder working on. But at the same time, don't you dare close a movie out like that and then make people wait 6 or 7 years for something. That sucks. Because, like, when did Across the Spider-Verse come out? That was 2023. Okay, so I guess it's not that bad. It just sounded worse. Yeah, that's not. I guess that's not horrible. So that's what. So by 2027, that'll be 4 years. Yeah, that's okay. That's more reasonable now that I think about it that way. Everything I don't understand how to model those cool sci-fi shapes. It takes practice, and it takes a lot of patience, and like sometimes it just takes like looking at other people's work and just kind of like working off of what they've done and trying to figure out your own way of doing things. But if you ever have questions, jump into our Discord. There is lots of good help in there. I'm going to model this into this, I think. Do I want to do that? I don't really want to do that. What I'm going to do instead is going to do this. Give myself a little bit of room. I'm going to build a little body here, -90. All right, just plop you up here. Delete all that trash. And then boom, boom. Okay. Why didn't you, hey. Why didn't you do the thing? Why you no do the thing? There we go, okay. But we want it now. Done did it, but we want it now. I know. That's what sucks is like, part of me is just like, why did you wait so long? But the other part of me is like, please give your artists time so they don't feel overworked. Because I feel like that's one of the biggest problems that plagues that industry right now. Like, just the entire industry is just overworking people. And then lying about not putting people under crunch. So I'm really hoping they're just, like, doing right by their artists and not abusing them. Because that's all we could hope for in this day and age. And just sink that in there a little bit. There we go. Okay. Why is that? Oh, it's popping through. I am excited for it, though. I'm sad we're not getting more Arcane. I know we're getting, like, spin-offs, but, like, I don't know. I feel like there's so much more goodness to that story that we could get. It's been a while since I've watched a show and then immediately wanted to like rewatch it. And Arcane definitely was that. Which is funny because like I stayed away from it for the longest time. How you close a cylinder? So this is a tool I use. It's called Quad Fill Hole. It's just a script I bought off of ArtStation. I think it's like $2. But it's made by here I could just show you. I always forget his name. Really? You want me to sign in again? I just signed in the other day. And something went wrong, and I gotta refresh, and I gotta sign in again, because ArtStation doesn't want to fix their shit. Come on. So this is the tool that I use. Let's see. Order history. GN Quad Fill Hole by Gabriel Nadeau, or Nadeau. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but it's $2. Super great tool. Saves a lot of time. Why do I have so many notifications? Oh, God. I never have this many notifications. Huh. Alright. Cool. Big chamfers on everything. Very much sci-fi space. I got yelled at for doing that, actually. I think it's a tool. Yeah, that is a tool that I paid for. It's funny, like, back when somebody was trying to get me to do, they wanted me to do this, like, weird internship thing. I don't really know what it was. But it, I got yelled at because I did, like, the classic, like, sci-fi panel thing in the background. And they're, oh, that's so cliche, you don't do that anymore. I'm like, but I wanted to do that. I thought it made it look cool. So that was my choice. But what's up, Demuzu? Do you read comments? I read all of the comments. At least I try to. Sometimes I miss some. I fucking hate this song. I need to unlike that song. Yeah, it needs to go away. Tired of it. Michael, I bet you took heat for it. Yeah, it's alright. I've taken heat for worse. Why now? Hold on. Oh, that's why. Yeah, okay. This is... Alright. Delete. This is why localizing topology is important. It is what it is. Absolutely. Art is subjective. And so if you like it, you keep it in there. STI with the 25 months. Holy crap, man. Thank you so much, dude. How you doing? Good to see you, buddy. Trying to chip away a bit. Oh man, you're still hacking away at the turbo. That's such a weird shape, man. When you posted that, I was like, I never even thought about making one of those, and I'm real happy to say that I probably never will, unless I'm like forced to because of a job or something. Because that just looks awful. Thank you again for the 25 months, SGI. I appreciate you, buddy. If you guys are interested, tomorrow the Spartan helmet goes live on my Patreon. So if you join me on Patreon and you subscribe there, you get a bunch of free models that already exist, as well as a couple exclusive videos and a whole bunch of other goodies. So it's a good place to support me if you are interested in doing so. Any advice for beginners who have recently started their 3D journey? Do not stress it. A lot of people I find like get really hyper stressed about like trying to quickly figure things out and just take things slow. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people like fry themselves on is they try really hard to just like force learn the knowledge without just experimenting and like taking their time. So definitely take your time. I was one of those people that tried to force it, and the forcing just doesn't work. You have to spend time on it and have fun with it. Like don't let it become something that's not fun, because art is supposed to be inherently fun. It is a great release for a lot of people, and so don't make it something it's not. Why is there no edge loop there? Did I not add one? I did not add one. Yummy goodies. What's up, Uncle Mike's pilot car? How are you? Absolute nightmare being... Oh, I've been doing automotive visualization stuff recently and realized I have no idea how to approach those forms. Trying to blast through and patch those holes in my... Yeah, it's... Automotive stuff, man. Like, sometimes you look at it, like, especially if like you're working on your car or something, you're just like, why the hell does this look like this? Like, there's so much stuff in my Jeep that I'm like, why does this... Why? I'm like, I'm sure there's, like, some reason that it looks like that, but I'm like, why is this so funkily shaped? Like, it's, like, weirdly organic in a way. Especially with, like, that turbo. Like, it's almost shaped like a Nautilus shell, which I know there's, like, air theory and all sorts of stuff that like goes into that process, but crazy. All right, that's good. Ow, I'm well, thank you. How be you? I'm doing good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Just chipping away at a new model. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing good. How long have you been doing 3D, Jake Howie? Part of me really wants to just like delete this loop. But I know, here, let's do this. This might work. It also might not. It might work, all right. Control delete. No, don't do, no. Why you gotta do that to me? There we go. I didn't jack anything up? No, it's good. Good stuff. Keeps that flow. Good. Okay. How long have you been learning it? I'm new to it too. Oh. You're asking, nice. How long have you been doing it, Vivix? Good idea. I haven't saved a new version of this yet, so that's a fantastic idea, actually. Alright. Sweet. So now we've got some really kind of ugly geo going on here. I'd like to just kind of fix this a little bit. Not that it really matters all that much, but it helps my sanity just a little bit. That and this like extra curve that I have going on here. It's gonna pinch there. Should we start by downloading models for our daily practice, or should we stick to creating everything ourselves as part of our learning journey? That really depends. I often lacked motivation, even though I'm constantly thinking about learning. I just end up lying in bed, and when I finally sit at my computer, I feel like I don't have the right resources to learn from. So it kind of depends, right? So it depends on what you're going for. So if you're looking at like modeling, one of the best things you can do for yourself is spend time watching other artists model and how they do it. It's how I learned a lot of the techniques that I use nowadays. That's one of the best ways. So like I do find that modeling tutorials are kind of tough. Like they do help, and they do help teach you those base skills. But the reality is that a lot of the times tutorials are teaching more of the technical function of things and not so much like the theories behind them. And so a lot of the times us as like artists, we will use different theories that we don't necessarily talk about when we're modeling things. So it's really good to watch people do that stuff, because then you learn how they apply those things. But as far as like the motivation, like motivation is just another one of those things. Like you gotta just like ride the motivation wave, and then you gotta start building some discipline. So when you're not motivated, spend 30 minutes even though you don't want to, and just do it. But I do suggest, like, depending on what you're going for, if you're doing animation, pre-used assets are probably going to be the better way to go, just because they're already rigged and like ready to go. But if you're doing modeling and stuff, like, you should absolutely be like modeling yourself. It's cool to download other people's models and look at them and like figure out how they do things and how they accomplish things. But at the same time, you do need to like learn how to use those skills yourself, because then you build up that muscle memory, and then doing that stuff is so much easier for you. I started school in 3D like 1.5 years ago, but it's a slow process. Yeah, no, I mean, it's always a slow process learning this stuff. Oh, what are your thoughts on not learning fast enough to reach the professional level? I feel like I'm behind the race and going pro at Think Tank because I don't have any art experience going in. I was going to law school only a year ago, so I probably shouldn't be surprised. But at 7 months in, I'm still very much green character sculpture. Love your stuff on Instagram. Always learning things in the modeling department. Thank you so much. So that's hard because you're talking about two different skill sets. I myself am still very much learning like the artistic stuff because like I've been kind of an artist since I've been young. Like I've been drawing and painting and doing stuff like that, but like I never really learned the theories behind everything. And so I bought a couple of books to learn those theories. Haven't read them yet, but I started one of them. I think it really just comes down to like that stuff that you're going to learn over time, and like forcing that stuff is just never going to work. What I do suggest is like when you're talking about things like color and light theory, when you find something that you're working on, so if you have like a project that you're trying to light or something like that, or you're trying to figure out the coloring on like a texture or something, when you do like actually find it and figure out like what processes kind of get you there and write them down. Because when you write those things down, whether you type them in a notepad on your computer or you write it in like a personal notepad, that kind of cements that in your brain. And it's a lot easier to remember that stuff going forward. But as far as like not learning fast enough for those things, like those things take forever to learn. Like it's never something that's easy to grasp because there's a lot of like conceptual work behind it. Like color and light alone are very dense topics. So it's just one of those things that you're going to gradually learn. So if you can focus on the technical skills while learning those more like artistic and like conceptual skills, they'll eventually start to merge together, and you'll start to be able to just kind of like produce things using both skill sets. So I wouldn't say you're behind, especially being that you've only been doing this 7 months. Like you're at the right place to be doing this, which is Think Tank. Think Tank is pushing out amazing work. Most of their students, and then on top of that, like you've got time. 7 months is you're still very early on. Watching people do it helps a lot. I've learned so many things from Cryptic. I'm glad. I'm really glad. Is topology hard to practice? No. Yes and no. That's why I have a whole video series on my YouTube for topology, because I find it's a confusing topic for a lot of people. But it can be. So it's really just it's kind of how fast you pick it up yourself. But yeah, if you're curious on like learning that stuff, check out my topology series on YouTube. There's like 5 videos, and they go over kind of like the basics around like setting up your topology properly. I feel like that's helped a lot of people. So take a look at that. Yeah, Lion's Path. You sound like you're on the right path, so I really wouldn't worry about it. That stuff just takes a long time to learn, and I'm still learning a lot of it too. A lot of my friends who do this are much further ahead of me in that department than I am, but it gets better with every single project. Why? Oh, it was already selected. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of extruding things, hoping it works out and looks neat, which is about 90% of what I do. Trying to build like a little, there we go. So this will be where the lenses sit, and then this will be some sort of like reflector mirror thingy. Thank you for the insight. I'm definitely trying to master the technical first, but I'll have to learn the art stuff. History and writing are not the best skills going into 3D. No. I mean, history's good, like if you're doing like historical modeling and stuff. Yeah, honestly, like my best advice, and like take it with a grain of salt because like I don't follow it. Find some like art conceptual books. So I have this really good one. I think it's down here. Yeah, there's this really good one I picked up at Barnes & Noble called Color and Light. And I got pretty far into it. I don't read much, so like I have to like force myself to read these things because they're big textbooks. But Color and Light goes over the theory of how light affects color, works with color, how color changes under certain lighting aspects, and it's all based around traditional art, but with a kind of sub-focus on helping you develop those skills for digital and 3D art. So that's a really good book to take a look at. I think it's like, let me see, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll go to Amazon real quick. Color and Light. It's got a dinosaur on it. Yeah, this book. It's like 17 bucks on Amazon. Really good book. Goes over a whole lot of stuff. And it's dinosaurs and other cool stuff, so, but mostly dinosaurs, and we like dinosaurs here, so I recommend it. Yeah, that's a good book. Okay, so I want to just figure out how I'm shaping this because I'm not like super hyper in love with this yet. I want to pull some of this down, kind of fake some bevels. My nose just got really itchy. That's also a book I've never really seen schools give out or distribute, but I'm like, this is actually kind of an important book, so like, pretty good one. What's up, buddy? Lions Path, thank you so much for the subscription. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Oops. Let's see. You're always honest and straight up. I appreciate it. I try to be. This stuff's hard, and I feel like a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are people who like try to gatekeep the stuff, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, everyone deserves to have their shot at being an artist, and it's a lot better, like, for me to like tell you how to like figure out things than it is to have like later somebody come in and be like, oh, I just went to AI art instead. So that's kind of like why I do what I do. I'm like, this stuff can be fun to learn. Blate papa. What's up, Stigma? How are you? But Lion's Path, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the sub. This is shaping up nicely, for the most part. How's it look when it's smoothed? Okay, so I've got some really gnarly pinching going on here, so that's going to be the next thing to figure out here. And generally, let me think about how I want to kill that. I know how I want to kill it. I think. How are you? I'm sleepy. You're sleepy? I'm kind of sleepy too. I'm not gonna lie. I've been going to the gym a lot more now, and it makes me tired. It made me a little sleepy. Okay, that kind of helped with the pinching. I think really it's just coming down to this. Let's kind of pull this in. I know that's an Engon. We'll worry about that in a second here. Honestly, wait a minute. Hold on. Was it just that causing the pinch? I think it was just that. Okay, hold on. The burbs are fighting. Did you stream today, Stigma? I didn't see if you were live. I haven't been on Twitch like all day. This is right. This is what I want. I just want it not to pinch like that. I think it's... Oh, you know what? Hold up. That's probably why. Let's do this. Let's just bring that back in here. Crix! No, not a new project. It's my Manta Ray drone. I'd feel really bad if I started another project without finishing this. Is that helping the pinching? Okay, there we go. We were just getting a little bit of a minor pinch because of that, and that's fine. And then I just need to kind of clean this junk up here. But how are you doing, Crix? Alright, what is the deal here? I haven't decided how, like, detailed I want to go with this yet. Ew. Dude, why? Oh, wait a minute. Did I mess up? No. No, we're just getting some weird pinching. Cool. Look forward to having my creature sculpt get torn apart in the project critiques. First time posting in the Discord. That's okay. No one's going to tear you apart. Everyone's just... Thankfully, everyone in our Discord is really good about just giving advice and not... Honestly, I don't allow people to tear people down because I've been in that situation and it sucks. So it's not even a thing. My community is very safe, and like I just want people to learn and enjoy learning and not have to like be stressed about this stuff because it's stressful shit when you do that. I think there's a time and place for critiques like that, but not in my Discord. I was kind of joking, but it can totally be stressful. Totally get that. I'm good. Thanks for asking. That's good. I'm glad. Hold on. I was missing Instagram. What are you making? Okay, so this is, for everyone who just joined in, this is a drone concept I'm working on. So I'm kind of building the little head unit right now. The camera unit, I guess if we want to call it. Let's see. I'm a beginner. I have done a model for my show reel. It took me 30 layers with the same model. I have downloaded it. Took 4 layers with UV mapping. How can I... layers? I guess I'm confused by what you're talking about. Do you mean like texture tiles? Or like texture layers? I guess I'm confused by what you're asking. Born as lazy. Born as lazy. So I'm terrible with names. I'm excited to see what you're doing though, Lion's Path. By the way, stream you did about rigging, was it a different project? Kind of, yeah, it's my Bionicle project. I'll come back to that when I when I want to stress out about rigging. I hate rigging so much. I am not a fan of it. Okay, I kind of see where some of the distortion's coming in here. Try to clear a little bit of this up. Okay. I'll probably end up localizing a lot of this, but for now, just getting the shape built out is more important to me. Alright, so that's looking kind of funky. Why? I think that's why. Which... I'm just going to drag these in and hope this is right. I think it's right. Could be wrong. Don't really know. I think it was right, though. Yeah, we're good. Alright, that solves the pinching that we had going on there, which is lovely. Lovely and good. Okay. Alright, so here's what I want to do. I think I'm just going to lock this in a 90-degree rotation. No, freeze. Oh, oops. My bad. 90. Okay, that way I can kind of build out the whole sensory array. So let's do... I'm gonna edit and group this. Control D. -1. Okay. That's kind of cool. And it kind of like looks like the manta ray like fin thingies, so that works. I guess I could say that rigging is a necessary evil. It totally is, and I hate it. I'm working on my very first human for my second final project. It's scary, I bet. I miss sculpting animals. That's what I'm learning on, is animals. Or dinosaur, really. I was gonna say I'd show you guys a picture of what well, no, I can show you guys what I'm working on. Open. So this artist was cool enough to let me use his reference. So I'm actually sculpting this guy right now. This is my ZBrush learning project. Really cool. I'm learning quickly, but I never got exposed to ZBrush in school. Like I did for a month, and that was all they exposed us to, and that sucked. So yeah, I'm just kind of working on the bust of this guy because it seemed like a really fun project, and I'm realizing that these wrinkles are terrifyingly difficult to sculpt. but I'm learning. Thankfully, I have a lot of friends who know ZBrush better than I do. Let's see. I have a question. I made a shoe, Air Force One, and the side part of the shoe is divided into 3 different mesh. But now I have to project an image on the side of the shoe. Are the 3 different parts going to be an issue? What are you projecting the image on? So, like, are you doing that in Maya, or are you talking about projecting the image via, like, Substance Painter? I feel like... I don't know. I feel like that's just too wide open like that. I might come back to that design later. How do you visualize an object before starting to create it? I've always wanted to ask that. What's the complete process for imagining something before jumping into any 3D software? I do really shitty sketches. Like really shitty sketches. I did this on my tablet in like 30 minutes and just kind of established, like, I knew this is what the shape I wanted it to be. And I knew that I wanted the camera thing in here, and then everything else I've just been doing kind of off my brain. So there's like no real answer to like how I do that. I don't know. I guess I've always been really good at just like on the fly designing. But yeah, I can't really say that there's like any tips or tricks on that, because like it's just something that you eventually kind of develop. And even so, like, I'll design something fully like this, and I'll decide, like, the next day that I hate the way this looks, and I'll redo it. Because, like, right now, I'm not necessarily feeling this. So, trying to figure out, like, you know, what else I could do to make this different instead of having it this way is going to be an interesting thing. So, I don't know. It's an anime design for a brand promo in Substance. So projecting it in Substance, because you've got 3 different mesh layers, that's rough. You might be able to get away with projecting it on the base of the shoe and then using an anchor point to drag that information across the different layers. So it just pulls the diffuse information across, or whatever like info you're trying to pull. I would take a look at seeing if you could do it with anchor points and just pull it across each layer. That way you don't have to try to like line up the projection on every single layer. You could also do that too. That's just going to be like kind of a nightmare to do, and then you got to figure out like what's overlapping what. So yeah, I would take a look at using anchor points. That might be a better idea at that one. In my school, they have you draw over reference pictures, and we try to simplify the form. You can go into basic shape where the vertex go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of does their own thing differently, and like I am working on my 2D art because it's not as good as it used to be, but I'd like to be a better like conceptual drawer because I like drawing. But it's definitely a whole nother like skill on itself. Ah, man, I don't know. I'm not feeling this. I think if I just add like a fin that kind of closes it up a little bit more, I'll feel a little bit better about it, but that negative space is driving me nuts. Let's see, if I go, maybe, let's look at the front of this. Because I'm thinking just slight gap. And then we'll do this. And pull this down slightly. And then I'm going to test this rotation too. So that's a problem. Still going to be a problem, but if I modify this thing a little bit, I think I can make that work later. Because I can just take that. And I can just pull this up. And call that good, maybe. See how that folds in now. Still kind of clips. Because honestly, I'd like to have it just like sit right there. It's actually too far up. Okay. Okay. That's better. I feel like that's a little bit cleaner. Yeah. I like that more. Let's see. Let's see. If that doesn't work, I'll have to connect those 3 meshes into the UVs again. So, no, you won't have to redo your UVs, because what you can do is you can just kind of rebuild the UV itself outside of Substance and then re-import it. So Substance is really cool because you can actually change your project and it's going to do its best to kind of remap everything. So you can make changes to your UVs outside of Substance and then re-import the file. That has saved me more often than not. Conceptual drawer. Okay, yeah, there you go. All right. I like, yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's rotate you back to 90. I feel like that'll be kind of a better setup. And then we'll just do a little bit of detail here, just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. Not in my modeling toolkit, I need to be. Okay, so let's do Control D, -1. Let's just, nope, not what I wanted. I feel a little bit better about that. It looks a little bit more like techie, so that's good. Just adding a little bit of like extra support. If I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Crix, you enjoy your breakfast. Thanks for hanging out. Do you have any advice on rigging, like weight painting and stuff? Not necessarily. I'm still trying to like redevelop my skills on it because it's been so long since I've actually like done a lot of it. I did download NG Skin Tools. I went and purchased that just because I knew I was going to need something that would help me out a little bit more with rigging, because like Maya's default weight painting is kind of garbage. So I think getting something that will help you a little bit will be good in that aspect. But yeah, I don't have a ton of advice for weight painting just because I personally hate the whole process. All right, so let's look at this. So we got multiple lenses. There's that little mirror thing. So let's build a couple lenses. this is going to be like a big old wide lens. So I'm going to do a thin bezel, pull that in, G, pull that out. I need to focus. Okay, and then just real small. This is generally how I get my lenses to look as like rounded as they are. I'll delete that. Whoop. That shouldn't have, yeah, so we don't have any distortion or weirdness there. Just a little bit of a pin. But that's not a big problem. I get so many bugs and problems in rigging. Rigging is not fun. I've never personally enjoyed it. I know there are a lot of people who do, and I follow a lot of people who do, but I'm not a fan. I would actually UV before somebody, like if somebody gave me the option to UV or to rig, I would UV. And that's saying a lot because I despise UVing. Okay, so let's add some detail to this because like I don't want these to not be detailed. What am I doing? Will it make sense to have a weird focusing ring on this? Probably not, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay. So let's just support to there, support to there. And then we're going to take this. Just inset that a little bit. Okay. And we need to make sure we're supporting these things. So let's go ahead and add our support ring. Generally with stuff like this, I won't try to localize it just because like it's more of a pain to do so. But I want to see what that's going to look like. So right now, the thing that I'm not liking is I'm getting a lot of distortion there. So one thing I can do is I can just kind of triangulate this corner a little bit. And this technically breaks a couple rules, but I'm not telling anybody. Do you do modeling for more, for movie? Oh, do you do modeling more for movies or video games? So technically the stuff that I do is like more VFX workflow based. Not a big fan of like game development modeling. So I tend to do game stuff or movie stuff more. I like the freedom of it. I get to play with more polygons, which is always an awesome thing to have. Dun, dun, dun. And guys, if you didn't see my story today, because I totally forgot to like speak about it today, my Twitch stream got nominated for an award. So there's a story on Instagram. If you guys can go there and vote for me, I would be super grateful. Because it'd be cool to win an award for that. Got nominated for like best art stream or something like that. I think you just have to log in with your Twitch to vote. Pretty sure that's the only like prerequisite. I haven't actually done it yet. What's up, Alase? How are you doing? I feel like you have that copy and pasted now. Like it's just like ready. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. No. Yeah, I'm doing good. So we got a little bit of like distortion here, but I have to decide if it's actually worth fixing. I hate that I'm gonna spend the time doing this, but I want it to be right. And actually, looking at this, hold on a second. I think we can cheat. This might break. Oh no, that works actually really, really well. Okay, so I hate cylinders. They're stupid to work with. But this is working, so I guess I can't complain too much. Cheat? I know. You know, I always used to like be hyper concerned with like using weird little techniques to get things to work, but after watching On Mars 3D did a really good video on like how they do like topology and stuff in movies. And there was some stuff from like Industrial Light and Magic that looked like garbage topology wise, but the end result was beautiful. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not so stressed about it. If the big guys are doing it, I can do it too. Cool. Look how pretty that is. Let's add another ring. Because why not? This one will be just like a little... We'll do this. No. Uh-huh. And we'll pull it in. I'm going to do this number. And then we're going to G, turn off the faces together. Pull it out. Scale it just a little bit. Look at how cool that looks. It's all about adding coolness. That is literally all I do. So. Now we have this nice little focusing grip, which makes no sense to have there, but whatever. Pet peeve of mine. So there's two rules to that, right, with cylinders. One is you need to have enough geometry for the cylinder to actually support them. The other one is you can kind of do what I just did, which is like localizing the topology. So I'll show you here in just a second. Just chunk this thing in here. No, not yet. There we go. No, that doesn't work either. Oh yeah, it'll work. Just stick it out a bit more so it like has room to rotate. Make sure it's not cutting. Yeah, there we go. All right, beautiful. Looks cool. So the little... What? Why? What? Get back in there. So what I do is I localize. So like you can see, like that's nice and sharp. All I did was take this and pin it to one of the edges. So like you do stuff to work with like what geometry you have, because you can't do this like in the middle of one of these things. It'll just turn out like trash. But you can use kites to kind of support corners like that, and it gives you a decently sharp look without having like a massive amount of topo for this. So something I like to do. Who do you consider one of the best to look up to in the industry apart from myself? I don't look up to myself. I'm not that big-headed, thankfully. I watch a lot of Andrew Hodgson, or Hodgson. I always screw up his last name. He worked at DNEG in Canada. Now he works for Blizzard. But he jumped in. I didn't find him. He actually found me, which is weird. He jumped into my chat and just started like talking with me. And since then, like I found out like he does all of this hard surface stuff, and like he is definitely one of the few people that I've found that does like really crazy good work and actually posts about it on YouTube and Instagram. So Andrew is a really good resource. And then there's On Mars 3D. He's got a lot of really great content. Those are all guys that I've like learned a lot from. thinking, let's do this. I'm gonna reuse this lens because I don't want to make another one. But I'm gonna scale it down. Okay, that's good. This is like the nitty-gritty modeling that I enjoy, though. So we're gonna do like a little square sensor. What's his name? Andrew Hodgson. Here, I'll show you his art station. This dude. I've learned a lot of stuff from him. And he streams to YouTube. He hasn't streamed in a while, but he streams to YouTube. He's very good at what he does, so he's worked on quite a bit. But he's an awesome resource. I learned a lot of my topology stuff from him and On Mars. Both of them are awesome resources for people wanting to do like hard surface stuff. Because it's hard to find people who do it. It's tough. It's a tough space to be in. What's up, Matthew K? How are you? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create like a curved lens. Where's my offset? There it is. Okay. Because I feel like that'll kind of lend to this a little bit better. You have a doubt in rhizome. What's your doubt in rhizome? What's going on there? Yeah, you can look at my following list. I do follow Andrew on Insta. Okay. It's funny too because like when he jumped into my stream the first time, he was like telling me he could show me a whole bunch of stuff and like teach me things, and I was just like, nah, I don't know who you are. I'm all, get out of here. And then I looked him up. I was like, oh my god. I can teach you things. I can show you the world. No, he's super cool. He has definitely taught me a lot of stuff. How can I transfer UV of similar objects in rhizome like we used to transfer UV attributes in Maya? Okay, so that's really easy actually. Let me open up rhizome here. I'll show you real quick. We'll just open my Spartan helmet, I think. Projects, I think it's in here. Scenes, and then helmet to rhizome. This one shouldn't have UV. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so if you're doing similar objects like these bolts, these little plugs are all the same. So there's two ways you can identify like what's similar. Sometimes the way Maya scales things, it kind of like disqualifies certain things as being recognized as similar in rhizome. You can try to kind of cheat that by going to the settings right up here and changing the similarity slider. But basically this icon up here will select all similar. So you can see how it selected everything there. And that actually grabs everything, which is funny because it didn't do that when I UV'd this. Hit I to isolate, and you can see all the same stuff. And so if we focus on this, and I go right in here, and I'll just do an example cut real quick here. We'll just cut this super fast and kind of ugly. So you select your seams, you cut it, and then we'll turn our checker on so you can see what happens. We'll select the object. You can double click it with the center mouse button, and then we'll go ahead and unfold it and lay it out real quick. So we have our nice little UV peg there, and then you'll click the button next to it. Rhizome's going to go through and find all the similar items, run through and copy and cut. So you can see how it just automatically cut everything. Grab that, lay it out, and you're done. So that's exactly how you do that. I always try to move fast while modeling. Is it good? Because it feels wrong to me as I start missing details. If you're missing things, yes, it's not good. But if you're just generally fast, like eventually you do just get really fast. So you'll find like a mixture of like you're fast, but you're also like focused on your detailing. Really it comes down to like controlling your process workflow. So like if you're working on like large, like silhouette based parts or like your forms, it's cool to be fast with that stuff. And then as you get like more refined, just make sure that you're taking the time through each process. So like if you're doing your forms, your major forms, you can be fast with that and get it all set up. And then when you go to like your secondary forms, you want to start kind of locking in a little bit and slowing down. And then when you get to your tertiaries and like all your little tiny details and stuff, that's when you want to really be focused. Let's see, I packed everything, but whenever I click Optimize UV Shell, goes beyond the UV tiles, and wherever we pack it and apply 512 4K resolution, it becomes red color, but Optimize makes it. So it sounds like your UVs are getting distorted, because like that's why you're getting that red. Sometimes when you do optimize things, that happens. So you can see how it fixes it there, but there are cases where it does that. And the easiest way to just kind of fix that is to unfold it. And then what you can also do to kind of correct some of that, let me see if I can find, like here's a really gnarly one. You can use your unfold brush, and you can just kind of go in there and try to clean it up a little bit. This generally helps kind of just like remove any of those issues. So sometimes you have to do a little bit of manual rework. Like Rhizome doesn't do everything for you, but it gets you to a result much, much faster. So just being a little like cognizant of like what you're looking at and like what issues you're trying to fix, and you can go through and really kind of clean up your UVs immediately. As far as like changing your tile size, you do want to like set your tile size at the beginning. I always work in 2K just because that's kind of like the baseline for the minimum quality that I want to accept. If you're doing game stuff, I understand that's a little bit different. But you shouldn't be constantly changing resolutions, because it doesn't really matter at that point. You're going to be able to take that. The only thing that really changes is like what your texel density looks like. So figure out what your base resolution is, figure out what your base texel density is, and then go from there. I wouldn't really stress about changing your map size in Rhizome as much as I would focus on doing that in, say, Substance Painter or whatever you're texturing in. Making UV shells beyond the UV tiles, making it unable to pack. I haven't personally had that issue, so you might want to look at your packing settings to make sure that there's something in here is not off. You can change your margin, so you can adjust your margin based on like how much. So if we wanted to set this to like 1, we can do that, and then select, I'm in my paint tool, and I can lay it out, and you can see how that gives us a little bit thicker of a margin. So try adjusting your margin a little bit, seeing if that helps. And like, it doesn't help all the time. Like, you are still going to have some that like pop over. Rhizome's auto packing isn't perfect, but you can generally get a pretty good result. Let me change this again. So if we go here, we'll actually change our margin to like 6. Let's see if that works. Lay that out. That should give us a, yeah. So you see how that kind of like packed it a little bit further away from the corners. It's going to do its best to pack anything everywhere, and you're going to sometimes get some that overlap. It's just kind of unavoidable. But I usually just give my UVs a once-over before I export them, and sometimes I have an issue, and I have to come back and be like, oh, you little bugger, you're sitting over one tile. Sometimes it just happens. So I wouldn't stress too heavily about that. Let's see. Meet me out back. I'll meet you there. I'm a 3D Maya student. Does 3D have a scope? What do you mean by does 3D have a scope? I'm a little confused by what that means. Almost done with the block out. It's coming along. I'm doing background reference model and aligning the grid with it is nearly complicated. Yeah, that can be kind of a pain sometimes. But it's good that you're almost done with it. That tea is not good. Okay. Tried something new. It's okay. If I click optimize, it makes bigger UV shells becoming beyond the tiles. So optimize doesn't necessarily follow the texel density that unfold does. So when you're doing optimize, you want to reset your texel density. I guess I shouldn't have closed Rhizome. Give me a second here. I'll show you. What software do you use for UV? I use what's called Rhizome UV. How do you get different sets of object in your model for Rhizome? What do you mean, Vinay? You mean different UV tiles? Let me reopen this. Load with UVs. We should go live more often. Gotta go learn so much today. Thank you for the go. You're welcome. I go live every Monday and Friday. So, oh, good. This one already had the UVs. Perfect. So I can show you a good example here. Let me do this real quick. Show overrides. Okay, so the helmet, right? So when you're optimizing, so if we look at this right now and we sample our texel density, we're at 116. If I optimize this and then sample it again, that's actually, that might be a bad example because it's kind of already. Optimize. It's actually not changing that. So there might be a setting that you need to look at. Optimization iterations. So take a look at this prevent overlap setting. That might be screwing you up. But it looks like it does actually keep the texel density, which is good. Unfold, I don't think does. Unfold changes it slightly. But yeah, I don't really see why it should be doing that. Yeah, Matthew, if you want to just go ahead and shoot me a message on Instagram, I'll try to get to it after stream. If I don't get you tonight, I'll get you tomorrow. But yeah, send me some screenshots so I can take a look. I'm a beginner and I struggle with understanding edge flow. Would you recommend any sources? I have 5 videos on my YouTube channel on topology and edge flow. Take a look at those. Those will be a big help to you. Because those are tough subjects. Like a lot of people struggle with them. Oops. And then if you need like further stuff, On Mars 3D has a lot of good videos on that too. He's who I learned a lot of stuff from. Okay. I'm in the midst of a week-long crash out on some AI wannabe goober and their troglodyte followers. One of these mother effers had the audacity to say the individual was top 10 artist with skill nearing Picasso, Michelangelo. Well, when those people can actually pick up a paintbrush and show me that they actually have skill, they can reach those levels. But until they can prove that they can actually reach those levels, they can't hold a match to a flame. That kills me, man. Like, the silly thing is, and this has been my biggest gripe with like these AI artists, and I use that with quotations, is the reality is like most artists are not out here trying to say how good we are and boast about how awesome we are. Like, that's some sort of weird like superiority complex that's coming to these people, and I'm like, I don't know where you guys are getting that from, but you need help. The reality is they type words in a computer and they get a result. That's it. There's nothing special about it. it doesn't make them an artist. And so, like, to say that they're like some of the greatest artists in the world, like, whatever, man. That's just garbage. It's good to see somebody with somebody also set up their wallpapers, their own work. I know. I think that's my biggest, like, big head ego thing is like doing that. I'm actually like, I'm working on getting 3 posters printed so I can have them in my office. Because, like, I kind of got the idea from Bill Ellis, because he hangs his work in his office for inspiration. I'm like, I like that. Because, like, you should be inspired by your own work. I think that's kind of an important thing as an artist. But yeah, I do like having that. For substance, we apply materials from Maya to different parts of the model to get different sets of UVs. So it's the same for rhizome. We have to apply materials on different parts to get individual UVs. No, not necessarily. So rhizome, it depends, right? So when you're doing your UVs... Sorry, my bird is going crazy. When you're doing your UVs, you're going to want to establish, like, are you doing UDIM setup? Are you doing single panel UVs for multiple objects? And then from there, you're going to have to establish, like, how your materials are going to get applied to your objects. So if you're looking at having an object that has multiple material sets, but not necessarily like a UDIM workflow, then yes, you'll have to import every single object into rhizome and UV them separately. You technically could UV them all with, like, UDIMs, but that's going to get really messy, so I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that. Yeah, I would try a couple different things there, because I also set my own work as a wallpaper. Hey, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Let's see. That blockout is coming along. Yeah, it's doing good. I'm kind of, like, out of the blockout phase now. Not really by choice, it just kind of happened. Said the same thing. My immediate reply was no. Yeah. I've learned it's just kind of impossible to argue with those people. It's like arguing with people about politics. They're set in their ways. They're not going to change their mind. They're just going to go about their happy little world where they think that they're the best, and that's good for them. Can you tell me the best way to give supporting edges? I give with a bevel. Yeah, you can do bevel. You can do whatever you want to, really. I just don't use bevel because it causes me more issues than not. So I just tend to not use it as much. But I'll use it on, like, simple shapes and stuff, but I always worry about it screwing things up here, so I'll just use multi-cut to support my edges. I don't really stress about it too much. Let me do this real quick. I know we have a bunch more questions, so let me get to those real quick here. What are you doing? Oh, there we go. Let's see, what else we got? Sir, can you teach me rhizome? I have one YouTube tutorial on rhizome right now for beginners, and then I need to do more. But yes, I am actively working on getting some more tutorials out for rhizome. I need to write this stuff down because I always forget, and I'm like, oh god, I can't make any content, but I have tons of ability to make more content. Let's see. Good morning, Boss Faraj. How are you? Let's see. Literally, the individual has nothing of a substance to their influencer career and decided to go the AI route. Made their Instagram just now. Now they post OpenAI, Deep Throat AI, and updates, and they're tech savvy. That's the wild thing, is that these people act like they're tech savvy for using these generators. And I'm like, bro, you didn't make the generator. I'm like, just because you created a login and you could type, like, don't get me wrong, I've used like Midjourney and a bunch of different AI tools just to see what they can do and see, like be educated on what I actively hate. And, like, it's not hard. It's really not. And, like, I think it's kind of the same thing. I hate to, like, throw shade at the 3D printing community, but, like, 3D printing is also not that hard. Like, it takes maybe a month or so to learn and figure out, and then you're basically good. Should I cat hair line in my mouth? So the idea that these AI people are like, oh, you know, I'm so technically savvy. Like, dude, I've worked in IT for so long at this point. Like, I could do so much more than some of these people, and it's just like, I don't get it. They have to be superior to people, and I don't understand. There's no reason for it, like, at all. It's also why I try not to argue with them anymore, because it's just like I know where I am technically and skill wise, and like it's just fighting with them isn't worth it. I sent an image on Discord, please check, and I text something, please reply. Where'd you on in our Discord? Oh, let me see. You're talking about the project critiques, I think. Where did you put it? Oh, I see. I'll go ahead and do this for you. That's just the wrong channel. So in the future, post this down at questions and support. But I'll just delete this after this. You tell me how much time to make a model if I am in a company. So if you're in a company, generally, you will probably not model this entire thing. Unless you're like a really high level senior artist, like you're not going to be doing the entire thing. Usually work like this is split up across a team of people so they can get it done faster. Because I can tell you modeling things like this take hundreds of hours. It's like my tank. My tank is probably far less complicated than this, and it still took me 130 hours to finish the whole thing. So the reality is like you would be working on a team that would be working on an object like this. It's a cool vehicle though. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this just because it's in the wrong channel and I don't want to muck up the portfolio review. That's okay, no problem. Are we talking about AI artists? Sorry, just yeah. Great, bro. What about you? I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I've created some models. I wanted your views on it to improve myself. You can shoot me a message on Instagram, or Vignette, if you want to join our Discord, you can post them in the Discord too, and I can respond to you there as well. It's a little bit easier because I tend to check that a little bit more than messages now, just because Instagram is kind of stupid with the way it hides messages. I'm an individual and I'm going to add this in my portfolio. Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally cool. Like, it's a good challenge. Just understand you're in for a long haul. Like, it takes a long time to do projects like that. Like the one, wait. I send the image on Discord. Please. Okay, yeah, they're similar. Yeah, like the ones going to conventions selling Turbo Squid Dragon. Yeah, I tend to be one of the people that has a big problem with that because, like, even the original creator isn't super thrilled about that because, like, that model got so popular and then China started ripping it off and, like, kind of just screwed that whole space up. But it's the 3D printing community, just like the AI community, they get really defensive when you call their work easy, their stuff easy. And, like, yeah, it's, you know, it can be frustrating. I mean, I'm printing a whole ass dinosaur skull right now that's basically life size and, like, it's failed multiple times. But, like, to call it difficult compared to what I do here, I can't do that. So I don't know. You know, it has its difficulties and it has its challenges. AI does not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the reason they want to feel superior is because if they do not emphasize their efficiency, they have no real claim to success or skill. That's perfect. Let me just punch my microphone. So that's like my biggest argument, right? Because the whole thing with AI is about making art more efficient, because we live in this world where we're so hyper focused on efficiency. Everything has to be efficient. But art in itself is not efficient. It is a grueling, time-consuming process that you feel damn good about when you're done. So to claim the whole, like, oh, this makes me so efficient at art, it doesn't. You skipped everything, you learned no skill, and so when something comes down and you need to make a change that AI can't make, what do? You're screwed. You can't do anything. So, yeah, it's the whole concept that, like, oh, I'm an AI artist. Like, no. Just no. Discord link. Vignette, it should be in the description on this live. If not, just click on one of my other videos on YouTube and it'll be in the description there. It's an all my links link. Yeah, I was initially like super excited about AI So like when Midjourney first dropped, I jumped onto it just to see what it could do. I thought it was super cool. I was like, oh, this is gonna like change all sorts of cool stuff. And then I started like digging deeper into it and learning about it and learning about how they built it. I'm like, wow, this sucks. This is awful. Just the way that it was designed and built is just terrible. And so I don't use it anymore. I stay away from it. Yeah, I can't think of many uses for it, really. I think I've used ChatGPT a couple of times to write some Python scripts for me, but that's just because coding is not my strong suit, and I couldn't find a reliable source to actually buy that code from. So sometimes it helps in that aspect, because, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess the same argument could be made for coders. Like, you know, you should support a coder, but it's kind of hard to find people that specifically do what we do coding-wise, so that's one of the only use cases I can actually think of it like positively like being used. But for creating art, why are we trying to do that? That's just not cool. Studio Ghibli is a great example. They're the most efficient, yet they run stride with major animation studios around the world. Yeah, exactly. That whole, like, I'm honestly, as sad as it was to see all that stuff, I'm so happy that OpenAI did that, because it opened a massive floodgate. Like, you still see a bunch of people who are like, you know, like whatever about it and still using the stupid filter on their profiles, but the reality is that actually finally got like a lot of like major artists talking, because it was no longer about just like trying to create stuff. It was like actually about copying somebody's work and trying to make it more efficient, and they went after the most like wholesome studio in the world. So I think that was a terrible but good thing. So like it was like an awfully good thing. So I'm kind of happy they did that, because it did open those floodgates, and I think it's really starting to hopefully change people's mind on it. Bring back hand-drawn animation. I agree. I'd love to see more of it. I follow so this dude I follow, I don't know if he's on ArtStation. Let me see if he is. Is he on here? Yeah, he is on here. Aaron Blaze. Artists. Where's your stuff? Is he? Yeah. Is this him? Yes, this guy. He is an old Disney animator. His YouTube channel is phenomenal for like traditional 2D drawing, and his work is gorgeous. So he does a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah, I love Aaron Blaze. I've been really tempted to sign up for his 2D art course, just because like I need to work on those skills. In which channel should I send the renders? Post them in work in progress projects, or if you're asking for critiques, just create a new post under the critiques area, and we'll do it from there. Oh, let's see. Perhaps I read too many dystopian novels, but the moment I saw AI programs, I wanted nothing to do with it. It felt inherently wrong. Yeah, I think I got caught up in the excitement of the technology, because like I am at my heart like a techie guy. Like I love tech, and so initially like I got super like tied up in like the tech of it, and then I started seeing all the artists coming out speaking out against it. I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, I didn't even think about how this was built. And then they started releasing like how they build the models, and I realized like how awful they were built. So for me, like I'm on two sides here. I hate AI art. I despise it. But I also know that AI can be used for good things. Early cancer detection, early like medical breakthroughs, things like that. Awesome stuff. Great stuff. That stuff is actually important because it moves us forward as a race. Replacing art moves us backwards. That's just kind of how I feel it. Unrealistic, whatever the hell your name is. Best viewers on Streamaboo. Aw. I am going to ban you. Viewer card. Let's get rid of you, huh? Bye-bye. Bummer. Alright. I want to make 3D anthro characters like Disney. Narnia, Owls of Gahul. That's one of my favorites. I recently tried rewatching it again, but I kept getting tired. I love Guardians of Gahul. I think that movie is still like blows my mind that they accomplished what they did for that time frame, because like it's just so beautiful. What did I try to watch recently? Dinosaur. That one didn't age very well, like at all. But yeah, I love stuff like that though. I still enjoy AI art as a prompt tool for envisioning something, but can't quite get the visual of it, and then I will tweak it in quite a bit, add to my drawing a bit. With that, it's a huge time saver more than anything. Yeah, and it can be, and it depends on how some people use it. There are some artists who use it for what you're talking about, which is just like quick concepting. And so depending on like your view of things, like if you want to do that, like I always tell people, like just use it with like the best intentions. My intention is always to work with a real artist. So like with the Project 77 ship, I worked with Martin Deschamelt on him. I used his concept work for that. And then with the Siddhapati, which I'm sculpting in ZBrush, I'm working with Dragons of Wales because I think his art is beautiful, and you guys should definitely follow him because he's an amazing paleo artist. But I always try to make sure that whatever I'm doing somehow touches another real artist. Even though I can't use that stuff for money, I still am using it to better my skills, and then like eventually I'll just get to work with concept art for a company that I don't have to worry about like paying for rights to do things. I just have to do them. Because like, you know, if I wanted to sell things and if I wanted to work with artists and do that, I would find a way to do it before I went to go do like AI based stuff, just because like I feel like I'd rather support a real person doing it. But for conceptualizing, especially for like traditional artists, like it can be a time saver. It's my brainstorming, but all the stuff I can still complete. Yeah, and like you've shown me plenty of times that you're an amazing artist. So like the reality is like I know like you're probably just using it for like brainstorming and stuff. Dried out like a raisin. Let's see. Seems to be the most acceptable use from a general point as a tool for initial stages of the process, and a poster means just an end result. Too many people do it, isn't it? That's the thing. Like, I think most people will tell you, like, especially like the concept artists that do still have jobs because of it. Most of them will tell you like it's great for like early concepting, but the reality is they still have to do their magic, and they still have to do their work. And so the reality is like you still need that human touch to make sure that they're both designing something that's capable of like being used, because from what I've heard, productions that use it, it doesn't go very well. But it's just the idea that like you still need that human touch, otherwise it just feels fake. It just feels like trashy. I'd like to learn how to make a road raptor as a real truck, but it will differ from the Radio Shack. I've envisioned this 7 years ago. I don't know what the Road Raptor is, so I'm not really sure what that is. Is it like an RC car? Yeah, I gotta dip soon. Got work tomorrow, but I know you want to see some of my stuff at some point. I posted in project critiques and finished art. You don't have to look now, but I always love it. I'll take a look after the stream. I'm excited to see it. And I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks again for that sub, Lions Path. That's understandable. It's more of I'm more of a traditional artist, and nothing I draw ever looks like what I was using to write. Yeah, that's true. This is also my career, so I'll be first in line to say that there's only so much. Yeah, that's fair. And like I know your situation, so for you, like if it's helping, it's helping, and that's awesome. I think that's what it should be used as a tool to assist artists, but instead it's being used as a tool to replace artists. So in cases where artists are using it to assist themselves, I don't tend to really get upset with it. It's when people are trying to replace artists with it that I get upset. That's when I get kind of pissed, because it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we setting ourselves back? That was a nice long rant that finished off the stream. But I got some good progress on this. I think the next thing that I'll probably end up doing... Yeah, I really don't know at this point. I think I'm just going to continue like just concepting this out and figuring it out, but it's working the way I want it to. I've got some nice control. It should give me the kind of like rotational stuff that I'm looking for. So that should be fun. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a new revision, because it's already 10 o'clock and I'd like to get some rest before I have to work again tomorrow. But alrighty, everybody. It's been an awesome stream. It's been super active tonight. Love that. It's been really nice having you all. So I appreciate y'all being here. Instagram, thank you guys so much for hanging out. You guys are always the first to get the connection cut, but I appreciate you being here as always. If you guys have more questions or you just want to interact on Instagram, feel free to hit me up, join the Discord, support me on Patreon, whatever you'd like to do. It's always welcomed. And I will see you guys a little bit later. I'll be live again on Friday, so keep an eye out for that. I think I'm going to try to do the rest of the portfolios on Friday. I need to make an announcement for it just so people who submitted know that it's happening. So probably look at Friday for finishing off the portfolios, just because we have a bunch of other ones to review here. So we'll take a look at that. But all right, Instagram, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. And then YouTube, the same for you guys. Give me a second here. Appreciate you all being here. Looks like it was pretty active on YouTube tonight. Love that. Oh, wait, hold on. Vinay, let me take a look at that real quick because I told you I would look at it. Where did you post it? Is it this one? Why is it not showing up? There we go. Oh, okay, you posted a couple. Okay. Let's see. So this is, okay, I see what you got here. Is this the render or is this the concept? Okay, I gotcha. Sweet, I'll take a look at these, Vinay. I probably won't get to responding to them tonight, but I'll take a look at them and then probably respond to them tomorrow when I got some more time. But thanks for posting those. I'll take a look at them. But YouTube, you guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you all later. And then Twitch, I gotta find somebody to raid. Let's find somebody.